This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Red Earth, a world premiere of a new play and the release of the accompanying graphic novel, co-created by me, GMB Kamichuk, and Andreas Sartison, script by Rick Chafe and Christian Jordan. May 8th to 18th, you can get tickets at brownpapertickets.com. The Earth self-destructs. Its only hope lies in the hands of three women on Mars. A story of legacy, discovery, and what, ultimately, makes us human.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I'm here with my long-suffering co-host, Justin Curry, and our doubly long-suffering producer, Dan.
Why doubly long?
Well, because you have to be here with us while we record it and then listen to us edit it.
That's true.
That's twice.
I do have to listen to it twice, and probably sometimes three times, actually.
See, so
I listen to it again through
quadruply suffering, right? Dan Vadeboncoeur.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Yes, so we were just talking before we turned the mics on about Justin's art as a virus that is infecting the internet. Ooh. Or put another way, how to make a post go viral. Sum that up again for us.
Well, I've noticed on the one site that I post to, Imager is kind of the image sharing website. It's the sister to Reddit. So it's a very, very popular site on the internet. There's lots of traffic. And it's not necessarily art-based. It's funny videos and sob stories and just kind of everything. And people
Reddit is the place where you can weaponize your opinion.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal. So if people don't like something or they like something, they're very honest about it. Whereas a lot of art websites, when you post, it's usually only warm, fuzzy comments or well-structured critiques.
Right.
Imager is a little more raw. But it has the potential to get you a lot more views and traffic than a lot of sites out there. So I use that site just on a daily basis to just see what the internet is talking about. And then I've started posting on there.
You know what? I'm just going to interrupt briefly.
Shoot.
I just had this vision when you're talking about all of the, how risky it is to put your stuff up there.
Oh, yeah.
But how it's good, lots of people see it. It's like on the freeways in Arizona, the billboards there. Millions of people drive past them, but they're also full of bullet holes.
Oh.
Right? So it's like, if you're willing to have your stuff seen and occasionally shot at, then maybe Imager and Reddit is the place to put it.
There you go.
Right.
One thing, we've talked about this before, one thing I've noticed on sites like that if you post anything that you're proud about it, the internet will chew you up and spit you out. So if you ever post I just did this piece and I'm really happy with how it turned. Aren't I great? Yeah. You will get it's called downvoted. People will give you a negative vote and the comments will be usually a little snarky and it won't go anywhere. But as soon as you post, my girlfriend doesn't think she's a great artist. What do you guys think?
Oh.
It goes super viral and hundreds of positive comments. And so the way you kind of, just the way you kind of present it.
You have to know your audience, right?
Yeah. So, I think I sent screenshots to a couple friends because the other day it was back-to-back these viral posts of people just the way they had phrased it, I don't think I'm going to do artwork anymore.
I saw those posts, and they were super professional, well-rendered pieces of art that someone is claiming, they're about to give up if only someone would notice them, right? So, there is that. But, I mean, people I don't know. Okay, so you have two kinds of posts that you post when you post your art. One where you explain how it works, you show some process, right? So, you do the sketch and then the renders and then how the vector works and then the final product. And then another kind.
I've noticed on, for example, Instagram, I used to just post the finished product. And then I started taking screenshots of my pieces along the way. And so when I was ready, I had 10 to 15 images of the sketch to the bare bones, shading, lights, and then the final piece. And when I did that, I was getting a lot more traction on Facebook and Instagram just because it was more of a gallery. And I noticed on Imager when I did that, things didn't work out so well. But when I do a lot of series, so recently I've been drawing a lot of Gundams. So when I would just post the one Gundam and the process to making it, most people on the internet didn't care. But when I posted the other 10 Gundams that I've done, as well as the new one, and I had like, it's almost like, here's the gallery of all the mechs I've drawn over the last year. That was something that would go viral almost every time.
Interesting.
So
Okay,
I've done this trick a couple times in a row, just adding like the new Gundam on top of the list, and every time that post
Right.
gets a huge amount of
an
attention.
interesting thing at work here. I'm just thinking about. So Jean Baudrillard wrote this book, Simulacra, Simulation. You can look it up. But the phrase that always shouts out at me from that book is that the real is only that which can be recreated. And that's what people connect to, right? So if you...
It's a fluke if it only happens once. But
showing a single image of something, someone's like, okay, yeah, I guess they did that one thing once. But when you demonstrate, here is a whole bunch of them in series, I can do this, this is my thing, it has a lot more weight to any population. Any viewership that sees a thing happen more often to a replicatable degree buys the authenticity of that thing. It's why
like
advertising works.
One-off good movie versus like 3 in a series of a good movie.
That's right.
Like,
It also makes your work a collector's item because people are going to want to collect all of them.
yeah.
Got to catch them all.
Gotta
Yeah.
catch them all. But it's also this idea that they can watch also some of the progression. So when you post your how I did it, people don't know actually still how you did it because they don't work the same way that you do.
Right.
They just know that you have a process. So when you post, I did it, and here I did it again, and here I did it again, it's like the magician, right? He can make the coin disappear over and over and over. People aren't actually that interested in how he learned how to make the coin disappear. They're just excited that they can watch it disappear, right? And so I think maybe that's some of the psychology of what's happening. When you post that string, probably a lot of the people who are liking or resharing it saw the first ones already. It's not new to them. They're just like, wow, he did it again. Oh, wow, he did it again. I love this guy. Oh, he did it again, right? And they're reinvesting in their original excitement. They're able to reinvest it and then share it one more time. You're not letting them down, I guess is what I'm saying, right?
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's also quite interesting just like not doing new work, but posting it in different ways over time. Like you've done this as well, like kind of throwbacks and
Yeah.
like taking a bunch of works and collecting them, and just, you know, the first time you post something, you're really proud of it and it doesn't get any traction, but when you kind of repackage it almost and do it again, suddenly
Right.
it catches.
Well, and you can do, it's social media is such a silly game now that the algorithms are laid bare to us all and we understand how it works. Or even if you don't understand how it works, you understand the notion that if you want more people to see it, there's a pay button for that, right? And in all those sites, except for maybe Imgur and Reddit, one of the things that you get from Reddit and Imgur is that because there's no monetary investment from you, the poster, that can change the way the post works. It is kind of more democratic in that way. But on all those other sites, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook to all that, if you want more eyes to see it that have never heard of you, you just pay.
Just give money.
Right? So, where was I going with that? Oh, so what I've been doing is, if there's something I'm really proud of that's related to a bunch of previous posts that I have, I'll do like for Red Earth is a good example. Like, doing plays is new for me. Like people who are following the play world in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada are not looking up my name to check what new play I'm working on, right? So promoting posts related to that so that people who are in that community say, oh, hey, here is someone I've never heard of. I didn't know this was happening, has resulted in more engagement in the Red Earth content that I'd been posting for months, right? So one paid post led to more engagement along all these other avenues. And that's a new thing for me, like to see, now that it's different, it's sort of like, okay, well, if you can't just let everyone who follows you see it because they block part of it now, how do I unlock to strangers? Since I can't show it to my followers, I might as well pay to show it to everybody. And that's, I don't know what it'll be a few years from now, but that's where it is now, which is like a weird thing. Which is what I like about your stories about Imgur and about Reddit, because there's no way to engineer it yourself beyond observing how the community responds and trying to give that community something they will respond to. And that's
And more often than not, I find and I'm not a huge fan of Reddit, but I find that when I see stuff there, people will call you out if they think you're like. I think at some point someone's going to recognize that tactic of the "oh, poor me, I'm not a great artist." Someone's going to see through that and call people out on it.
I think every so often when they do, the community jumps on them as like, "Don't be a dick. This person's just you know."
But if you see that person say that thing more than once, that could be a giveaway. Right?
Yeah, I think you can't pull that trick endlessly.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can genuinely do it. Like I have seen ones go viral where it's like, here's my 4-year-old's drawing, right?
Oh,
of a monster.
That happened to my daughter actually on Twitter. My daughter is. I think she's a great artist. I'm not biased or anything, but I think she's very good. She's 9 and she's very good for her age. And she follows a number of YouTuber animators. So these are people who create animations every month or every week or whatever. And she drew some kind of a collab fan art thing of all the characters all in one thing. And it looked really great. I took a photo of it and I posted it on Twitter. And I don't know that any of and I tagged all the people in it who were in the thing. I don't know that any of them retweeted it necessarily, but it got a ton of attention.
Right.
And it was a genuine post. Here's my daughter. She's 9.
Yeah.
She drew this. What do you think?
Yeah.
And people loved it. Overall, people loved it. But it did go viral in a small way.
And I think maybe what people like about that, the psychology of that, is that we want to root for the underdog.
Yeah.
And like if you're posting your kid has nothing to gain actually from the internet really liking their work. Mm-hmm. So nobody withholds their appreciation, right? Our attention now has value. Right, people realize that your attention has been commodified and like paid per click and all of this kind of stuff. And so I think there's like a jaded, horrible misrepresentation lurking under every post that you want to believe in. Right, when it's an adult saying like me, love me. Mm-hmm. But when you're like, hey, here's an innocent child's work, right? You're like, oh, right. Wonder, joy.
But then is that actually his kid, or is he reposting that for fake internet points?
Yeah, who knows?
Well, it's good, but it's not good enough that I can take credit for. Like it's certainly she's a better artist than I ever will be, but it still looks like a child's drawing. It does not look like it doesn't look like you guys yet. Yeah. She's not there yet.
Right.
I guarantee she will be at some point.
Yeah, sooner than we probably are ready for.
Yep.
Ralph, if you don't fly, we're out of business.
So how is Red Earth going?
Oh, it's so cool. We did we're 3 days into rehearsals now, and we had the first table read. And for those of you, dear listener, who don't know what that is, a table read is when all of the decision makers sit around a big table and all the actors sit around the big table, and then they go through the script as like a radio drama. Like everyone's reading in character, following the beats. Someone is giving them the stage direction so they can hear it and learn about it, but they don't actually have to do any of it, right? And so you just sit and listen uninterrupted to the hour-and-a-half show run start to finish. And there was an effort made. I've been in a few table reads where, you interrupt constantly, but there was an effort made in this particular one to have it run more or less uninterrupted from start to finish. So it just suddenly it went from a concept that we hope we could bring to life to something that I now know will work. Like there's stuff that we have to fix, stuff we have to change, whatever. But in the broad strokes, I kept saying like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Wow, this is so cool.
You wrote the thing.
Well, okay. So to clarify, we broke story on it, but there were 2 scriptwriters that came in.
Oh, right. Yeah, they were on the podcast, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Christian and Rick both did the actual writing for the script. So think of it like Andrea and I made up Spider-Man, and then someone else comes and writes Spider-Man, right? It's kind of like that. Like we gave, or how we did Cassie and Tonk. You made up everything, and then I came in and then played with the pieces to write the story.
Same thing with Gear and C with Claire.
Yeah, right, with Claire. So it's like that. So they absolutely get credit for any time the human element connects with the audience. That's 100% their job and what they're good at and what they're working towards. And then Andrea and I will interrupt with things like plot or story or world stuff. Like we establish the rules of our world, right? And what science we're using. And anytime that we feel like the clarity or the vision of what we wanted the overall theme to be, that's where we might make a suggestion. but how they pivot is up to them. So like a script point might be in this scene where they're talking about this violent period of Earth's history. We would say to them, let's remember that this theme that we're going to connect at the end, we want to introduce here. But what words they use, how they do it, what character interaction, all of that is still up to them, right? Mm-hmm. And they ultimately get veto. Like if we say, no, not that, we don't tell them what to put there instead. They go and rewrite something and then come back, right? So trying to keep a clear division between us providing them an idea and us telling them what to do, right? No one wants to be told what to do in a creative space. We invited them because they could do a certain thing, and it's been really wild to, furiously animate. Well, and so here's the other side of it. Why I'm sitting in on this thing, because I'm not the director and I'm, ultimately not the writer there either in the room. All of the set and things the characters are interacting with are projections of illustrations. So anytime we make a substantive edit to the script, it might change the location or the elements that we've set up as the visuals. So now I have to madly recontextualize, re-illustrate, and rebuild the visual elements that then get given to the animators and the projectionists. So they'll make a note, and then it changes my notes for illustration, and then I have to go into my file tree and be like, okay, well, not this exterior of the ship. I need the mess hall. I don't have a mess hall. I have to illustrate a mess hall now, right? And what are they going to interact within that mess hall? I have to illustrate those elements also. So it's
easy.
Well, you know what? It feels. How do I put it? Easy is the wrong word, and hard is the wrong word.
You don't have to build the sets in the traditional sense.
Well, it's super stressful, right? Like you feel that, oh my gosh, there's no way we have enough time to do it all. But at the same time, everyone is so deeply in service to the idea, and everyone there, from the lighting person to the sound person to the actors to the directors, like everyone is also in that ratcheted, we just changed something, now we all have to change. So you don't feel that like put upon. It's not like, oh, we made this change, you better fix it. The rest of us are going to go for coffee. It's like, oh, we made this change. Now everyone, all 15 people in the room are making changes to their notes, making changes to their workflow. And so now the onus is on you to do it well, because everyone...
It's a cascading...
Yeah, there's this cascading thing. And so when you get it wrong, it cascades through the whole show. And so, yeah, it's not easy or hard. It's just complicated. It's complex, right? And we love it. And everyone gets super fired up. And, there's electricity in that room. I can't wait to show it to people.
When does it open?
It opens May 8th, and it's on from May 8th to 18th. So it's a 10-day run. We're also doing shows in the afternoons, a bunch of afternoon shows for schools. So if a school wants to bring their class,
nice.
There's a physics class that's coming for sure, and I think there's a social studies class. Because the plot is both science related, right? About, people used up the Earth, right? And it's not a story of the colonization of Mars. It's the story that the people who believed they were going to try and colonize Mars now realize they're not a colony, they're an ark. They're never going to be
coming back.
They're not going to be able to come back, and no one's going to be able to reach them again. And so, what do they owe the planet they came from, and what do they owe to their own future? And how's that going to work?
Cool.
Right.
Sounds great.
It's it's got lots of stuff for a social studies classroom to talk about. It's got lots of stuff for an English classroom to talk about. It's got lots of stuff for a science classroom to talk about. And it's about 3 women, because if you're going to send people on a mission like that, you don't need men, right? We're superfluous. You can bring a lot. You can make a better colony without men at the beginning, right?
Interesting.
And then they find out that the ghosts of their past are waiting for them on the red planet.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's been really wild. And I made a book to go with it.
Yeah,
The other part of it is that we're just sent off to the printer, the Red Earth book. I have the draft copy of it right here, actually. I brought my report card for you, Dan. And so one of the conceits of the story is that one of the characters is kind of a historian. She's documenting the events from her perspective.
Yeah.
And so we see that happening through the whole course of the play. And then when you leave, when the play is over, you're presented the object that she was making the
That's
whole
so
time.
cool.
So now you get to read a different version of it. One person's, the idea is that history is something we decide on. So she decides on what you saw, what it means to her. And so that version is different. You have a disconnect between what you believed it was and meant and what she says it meant. And that is one of the through lines of the play. Like, we have to decide which parts of history we're willing to say yes to and which parts we're wanting to contest.
I love cross-media collaboration like that, where you have like one form and then you do something else with it. So they get a takeaway when they leave. They get their own graphic novel that they can reread at their own leisure and explore the world again. Someone could also come back and see the show again and have a different experience based on their reading of the
That is
book.
our ardent hope, is that someone will come to the early show and be like, wait a minute. They'll read the book, and then they'll go back.
Yeah, and then
Right?
it's like watching a movie again. You get to experience it a different way. So that's awesome.
And we've been approached by a few festivals already. Andrea has been, and to mount the show in other places.
Okay.
So, it's the deep wish of all playwrights is that the play is well received enough that other theaters want to mount the show, right? So aside from just like making it, we also have to systematize it in a way that complete strangers could then take it and run it themselves, which is like a whole other thing.
Mission successful.
If this is a success, I'd hate to see one of your failures.
Now you've digested a little bit, and it's at the printers. Gear and C. Justin, how do you feel?
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah?
It's a, like you were saying before, it's a jump in medium. It's a young adult novel.
Right.
And I've never had anything to do with selling a novel before.
Right.
So I'm excited to get it on the table and see what the reactions are and learn how to pitch it properly.
Right.
We might have to do like a little seminar with Claire on like how to sell.
Yeah, like the
Young
difference
adult,
of
yeah,
because we do what we do well, and she does what she does well.
Because with
But they're
graphic
not the same
novels,
thing.
you hand it to them, and within 10 seconds,
They like it or they
they've
don't.
made up their mind about it. But a novel, you really have to get them in the door.
Right. And unfortunately, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
People have been trained with this idea that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You actually should. You shouldn't judge a book.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
You said so much work goes into the cover
Right.
and the marketing of it, and it's just like the blurb on the back or whatever. That's what all that stuff that's used to, to
like
market
now
books.
it is true that there's more to the book than its cover. I think that is the actual true statement.
Right.
There's more to a thing than its cover, but you can judge it by its cover, right?
You make the decision whether or not to
Yeah.
purchase a book based on its cover.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and read. Although I will say this, I once had a friend sell me on a book. He just said, "Read the first sentence of this book, and you will want to buy it." And it was true.
Yeah.
It was "The Fairies of New York" by Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
And it was that first sentence.
Do you remember the first sentence?
I can't remember. Something about a fairy throwing up somewhere. But it was very funny, and it was like, yeah, okay, I got it. There are authors who are able to who reel you in with that first sentence or first paragraph, but most of the time people will look at the overall kind of idea behind it.
Right.
I think this book has a lot going for it because it's based on a visual graphic novel, right? They already can picture this world, even though it isn't specifically Cassie and Tonk.
Right.
They can still see the style of it, and your cover also helps convey that as well. So it's got that going for it.
So I think we encapsulated a lot of like the sense of the book is reflected in the cover.
Well, and because we've been doing all that work on the animation, and because I live in a studio here with you working on stuff constantly, I kept reading Claire's draft as if it was animated in your style. Like that's what I would see, which was to me like kind of a funny brain thing occurring. It was like I couldn't imagine it the way I often imagine books. I just saw it through this lens, and I wonder how many people who read Cassie and Tonk or read Rust and Water or are familiar with your stuff, that will be their experience, and how different that is from someone who just picks it up as a book, likes the cover, and keeps reading it. The things they see in their mind will be so divorced from what we maybe intended or imagined, and yet completely valid and real.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
Making up stuff
Now,
is so cool.
would you not say, and I don't know, you guys talk about how, the audience finds your work, so you don't necessarily you didn't create Casting Talk with a specific audience in mind. Would you say that's accurate, or did you always mean for it to be?
In my mind, it was for my normal clientele, which is like 18 to 30-year-old people who are into like more geek culture. And then once it came out, I realized it was more of a kid's book, and it was
It
younger
does,
audience than what I had envisioned.
Yeah, and I think I bought it for my daughter, right? So, and that's something that I do think it does have an appeal to young adults, like that. It's in that genre, so it's not a stretch for this to be a young adult novel. Whereas there is already an existing audience for Cassie and Tonk.
Yeah, and that was our, if we take all the creative energy out and just put our business hats on for a second, that was also our decisions. Like, if we're going to fund all this money.
Can you please have business written on that hat
On
that you're
my
wearing right now? I just love to put my business hat on.
Dan is making fun of me because
No, it's a great
I'm wearing
hat.
a brand new, and it was a gift from my son. A brand
a
new
great
trucker
hat.
Yeah, and it's a trucker hat with like a mesh back hat.
Yeah.
But instead of having something on it, it's just white. I feel like why it works is that a trucker hat, a mesh back hat with something on it, is two different statements competing with each other.
Okay.
Right? Because the mesh back hat is a statement in and of itself, and then whatever you put on it, now you have this like brand disparity competing with it. But because it's blank, it just works as it is.
You can just fill in what you want. I can
feel like
envision business on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get to have a vision, or have
blank,
your creativity.
Right, and then business hat.
Business hat.
I
There you
like
go.
that.
Yeah.
There you go.
So if we put our business hats on, Dan, we had a market that we knew had grown up.
Right.
Right? We had a few thousand people that we knew bought the book and liked the book, and they're a little bit older now. And could we give them a reading experience that matched that in a timely before they grew up again?
Right.
And it was like, no. And then
Long-term planning too.
Yeah, the long-term plan.
We do plan on doing more in the Cassie and Tonk universe, and the plans that are coming next in the next couple of years are getting a little more serious and a little more adult and longer and a little more intense storytelling. So I don't think by the time we have the second and third story in that series, it's not going to read the same as the first one. It's going to be for a bit of an older audience.
So you do want to have more novels come out in this series?
Yeah. I mean, the wish of every creative person with an idea, I think, is that you will find an audience and then you can do more.
Yeah.
So the business hat on, if it sells, we have a threshold that if it sells beyond, we're going to immediately greenlight the sequel. And if it sells under that, what we're going to do is, I think, look at, is it the book's fault? And I don't mean because the story's bad, because Claire's story is amazing. Mm-hmm. Is it that we misinterpreted where the demand was, kind of like we misinterpreted where Cassie and Tonk's demand might be? And do we have to shop it into a different audience and let it find that
I feel
sell?
like if it fails, it's going to be because of our distribution model.
Right.
We are visual artists selling visual artwork, and maybe a young adult novel just doesn't fit into our table. So I feel like if it doesn't sell like hotcakes, it's going to be because the way we're displaying it at all the shows we go to. So I'm also very excited to see how we sell it versus how Claire sells it and what those numbers look like.
And why it's not the worst idea ever to give it a shot, no matter what, is we've on a parallel track been slowly developing a relationship with what you'd call a traditional book distributor. Right, we have enough titles now. We have to sort of cross a threshold of around 15 titles in the catalog and a certain X number of dollars in sales, and then they will put you in their they'll make you distributed worldwide. Mm-hmm. So we have this capacity of saying, okay, if not direct sales, then certainly indirect sales into the traditional market of bookstores where, gasp, books are sold, right? So we have this, it's why we're willing to take a risk. I guess all those things go into this idea of the businessman's risk,
yes.
The business person's risk, pardon me. Right.
Business hat, slightly back on again.
Yeah.
Also, just cost per unit.
Skew.
When we print a hardcover graphic novel,
it's a lot.
There's a lot of material involved. There's a lot of color. There's a lot of
your time.
Yeah, production elements. Compare that to a black and white young adult novel that is on thinner paper. Just the cost of making this book versus what we're used to is considerably lower. So that's kind
interesting.
of yeah.
Even though it's a thick book, right? It's so funny how that is, but it's overall smaller, and you probably have a process of printing books that's way more efficient.
Right.
And,
And
simplify. Simpler.
Just one. There's no colors. It's just one thing.
Yeah.
Although I would love to see. I'm just throwing this out there. A special edition with prints in the middle. You know how you have the color prints in the middle?
Yeah.
Color
We
prints
would
in the
also
middle?
love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, we
let's
would also
let's do
Here in
that.
C1.5 when we do the reprinting.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Put some
Yeah,
other
in
stuff
my mind, the reprint has flaps, right? Fold
okay.
in like little
Yeah,
gatefold
yeah,
flaps, right? And it has one of the flaps talks about the Cassie and Tonk show animation or where to go and find it.
That's right.
Right? And
On
then
Netflix.
And then the inside has a whole bunch of lavish illustrations that Justin's done over the last few years that represent what the people who are responding to the book wish they could see.
Look at it this way. You're one step ahead of Lois Lane. She never found out who Clark Kent really was.
Like sometimes it's disappointing when you read a novel and you fall in love with these characters and you have an idea of what they look like in their head, and then you go to buy the second book and that character doesn't look at all like what you had envisioned.
Yeah.
Is that kind of disappointing if you kind of spell like, here's what the robot looks like?
Yeah, you don't want to lay it out too
Yeah.
much. My favorite Mike Mignola story is I met him at San Diego Comic-Con,
Oh.
and I was there. This is like ancient history for me, but I was working on a ill-fated science fiction web series, and one of the writers, David Keck, was working with, I forget which publisher. It might have been Random House. I'm not sure exactly. Whoever publishes the Christopher Golden, Mike Mignola books, Baltimore, the Vampire Hunter ones. So just to put it in context, I'm at San Diego Comic-Con, and by chance, I happen to have the opportunity to run into Mike Mignola. Well, there's no line. He's just getting set up, and we're just having like a general conversation, just a chat. And I ask him how things are going and what's up, and he says, I'm kind of nervous. I'm freaking out. I have a meeting later. I mean, anyone who knows Mr. Mignola, I don't know him personally, so I guess that's how I should refer to him, right? Knows that he takes his creative process, his heart is on his sleeve all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So he constantly is redoing it and trying to do better. So this is not out of character for him. When he says to a complete stranger, I'm a little nervous. I have a meeting with the publisher later, and I have to tell them that I want to redo all the illustrations that I sent them for a book. And I was like, oh, well, why? And I'm just, at that point, just starry-eyed, like, I love your work. How could you ever get anything wrong? Mm-hmm. And he takes out his portfolio, right? Opens it up and says, here's the illustrations of this book I'm working on with Christopher Golden, and I illustrated all the characters. And I realized, why would I do that? It's exactly what you're saying. Why would I take away the joy of imagining all of those people? Why would I do that? I ruined this book for people. Instead, what I want to give them is some illustrations of the settings. Can we hear that dog laughing in the background? That's amazing.
Yeah, she's having a drink.
Having a drink.
Just had
Opal.
some treats.
Opal, our excellent audio. Hopefully we can hear you.
I think she's becoming a little self-conscious about it. You guys are paying way too much attention to me drinking.
So Mike shows me these, Mr. Mignola shows me these illustrations that are of the setting, of the tone, things that would set the scenes, but not tell you how to imagine them. And he says, I really want to do this. Fast forward now, and I'm thinking like, wow, that's amazing. I fast forward, and I'm there speaking with David, and he's there with this publisher, and I was like, how are you guys doing? What's going on? They're like, oh, we're really nervous, right? Because this is also the same time that Hellboy had just come out. So
movie?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
So we're meeting with, Mike Mignola, and, it's kind of a big deal because he's doing illustrations for a book that we're publishing, but we have to tell him that we don't want him to have illustrated the main characters, right? We want just
That's
like
hilarious.
And so,
I
like,
would have loved to have been in that meeting.
right? Like,
What? You don't want me to do it either? Yes.
right? So
man.
it was just this wonderful thing where, like, it's a story that I'll always remember because he cared and he had the project in mind beyond his own work.
Yeah, he could have just done the illustrations and forgotten about it.
Yeah,
right?
and said, listen, take them or don't take
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
But they're done. And the publisher also had the reader in mind, the reader experience, saying like, we want his work because it adds to it, but we don't want him to add so much that it takes away from the reading experience.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that notion. And so I think you're right in this idea of you don't want to illustrate it all perfectly. But I think there are some moments where on the sea, there's some just great ocean scenes I really want to see you illustrate. More the world than the events.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I want to see in this style.
Can I ask, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but the image that's on the front, is that an actual scene in the book?
No, it's a little more, it's like the abstract representation. So the main bit of the story that really stuck with me is it's the relationship between the two main characters and the robot, but I didn't really... So initially, this cover came together very quickly. I was in the middle of like the first two big conventions of my season, and
we discussed this last week.
Yeah, and I was reading the book. So I knew Paramount, I wanted to have the two girls on the cover, and I didn't want to have an actual drawing of the robot because I didn't want to spell out what the robot looked like. I wanted people to kind of envision that.
Right.
So it's just kind of a little more abstract representation of the girls, and then just the elements of the robot without really giving away
the cover
what is final
represents the
form.
idea of the story, not an event.
Not
in
an
the
actual
story.
event. Okay, well, that's fine, but we still get to see what the two main characters look like, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's pretty clear depictions of those two girls.
And they're not 100% accurate to how they're dressed in the book either. One is usually like in a little more like fully clothed, and the other is like a little more dressed for like the beach, like in shorts and like a t-shirt. And the other is in like layers and stuff like that. So I didn't quite... I was wondering about that.
The art director should have rejected your cover sketch.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
It made sense for the illustration. What fit best in the illustration is
Right.
what I did. And in my experience, when I'm having that internal debate of like, should I be accurate to the source material or should I do with what works best for the
composition,
artwork?
yeah.
Every time I do what's accurate, I wish I had done what visually works best.
Composition is king. In this
Composition
case.
is king. So what works best for the artwork
queen.
is what I do every time now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is fire trucks now. Lots of great background noise. Yeah, it's exciting times.
It is. Do you see the armored car pulled up on the curb in front of our building today?
No.
With like guys with their like looking on high alert. You didn't notice?
Oh, was there a heist going on?
No, I don't think it was a heist.
Oh.
I think that the dear listeners from the international community, Canada now has marijuana legally available for purchase. And
there's one in this building,
and
isn't
the
there?
main floor of our building is a big suite. They don't need any more product placement, so I won't name them. But I think this was them transferring all of their money from a very busy weekend under cars and guns. And
Interesting.
Like they were pulled up so that there was only like 3 inches between the door and the back of the truck.
Wow.
Traffic is stopped. Nobody can get by. This enormous armored car is there, and there's the driver and whoever the money guy is, and then a third person with their hand on their weapon. So like they were clearly transferring in their mind an enormous amount of money. So those of you who are planning a heist, I guess I just gave you an idea.
I mean, you probably haven't even heard a word I said. For all I know, we could be heading into the biggest shootout in the last 20 years.
Yep. Right. Gotcha. I'll be working on that, kid.
How are we going to fit this book, Gear and C, onto our tables? You alluded to the fact that could be
Well, actually, okay,
troublesome.
so let's talk about that because it's easy for me because the cover is my artwork.
Yeah, you bugger.
And so I can print, like, it fits.
Why didn't I do an alternate cover?
It fits in there quite snugly. But
Oh,
on
my
your
goodness.
table, it's going to stick out as something, and it's a different color scheme than you.
Right. But maybe that's good. Maybe no one will
draw
buy any
attention.
of my stuff and only that because it's the only good thing in their mind. On
Oh
the
my
table.
God! I just realized what a competition this is going to be. Who can sell the most
Of
gear
the
and
three
C-
of us,
Of the
that's the
three of us.
My money's on Claire.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Claire's
guys.
Yeah.
going to blow us out
But
of the water.
because
I think.
this is what she sells. This is her product. It's a novel.
Coming for you, Claire.
She's the author. This is. I mean, I'm not. Don't want to
I think the
pick favorites.
only way that I could compete is to be dishonest. To be like, here's my new book.
Right.
Right? And put it
Is
in
your name
people's
anywhere
hands.
on the cover?
No, it's just on the inside.
Mine
Yeah,
isn't
okay.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
okay.
Claire's. Yeah,
Just
Claire
Claire.
did all the
Good,
heavy
yeah,
lifting. She
she wrote
deserves
it.
the cover.
Yeah, like there was a part early on where we were discussing like, oh, it should have our names on it, like this way a movie does, like, produced by J.J. Abrams or whatever. But then as it got close to the finish line, we're like, we didn't our
And
names
plus,
on this cover.
they don't put George Lucas's name on every Star Wars novel that's out there,
No,
right?
but everyone knows his name related to
Yeah.
it, so there is an argument to be made.
Okay.
So yeah, our
Right,
names
right.
don't have that kind of clout anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. In this market, with the fans who read that stuff, they're more likely to have heard her name than ours. So it just would pull the clarity away. Who did this book? Right?
Oh
That's
yeah,
not what you
no,
want.
that makes sense.
Right.
Total sense.
The clarity.
And
Yeah, I caught that,
I
yeah.
do actually. I just realized this. We haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, but this book will be making its debut in Winnipeg at FanQuest.
That's right,
at
that's
my
right.
event, and we are bringing Claire into FanQuest
Yeah.
as
She's so
a
excited.
guest.
Yeah.
So we will have all three of you, and even Sam, who edited it. So the entire Gear and C team kind of together for a panel. Talking about it, but also she's going to do a launch and do a reading and
it's
all
fun.
kinds of fun stuff
and
like
the
that.
way you said, and even Sam who edited it actually, by rank of efforts, it goes Claire, Sam, and then us.
That's
as
right.
far as the effort of making
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah.
Planning stage, it went Justin and me and Sam, and then
then
we
Claire.
brought Claire in.
Yeah,
but
that's
when
right.
it came to the actual labor of the work,
It
we got to put
reversed.
that in the
You
right
guys
order.
actually missed. I think my favorite meeting to do with this book was you and Sam had left Toronto, and Claire and I were still in Toronto. So we went out to some pub on Monday morning. But we basically hung out all morning and got some really key decisions got made.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
in
cool.
some completely empty pub just off Yonge Street in Toronto. And then we shared a cab to the airport. It was great.
Good.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that's how dreams are made.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, you guys, this whole conversation will serve as a bit of a preview to what you guys will talk about at FanQuest and at the whatever panel we end up having.
Well, it'll be interesting there too, because I think Claire will likely lead that discussion just with her actual, she has the boots on the ground knowledge of how she pivoted around the decisions. I'm really interested in having that conversation really for the first time in public with her to say when
And
you
we'll
did
record
this,
it for the podcast,
and
by
it's
the way.
different than what we talked about here,
Yeah.
right? But clearly better for the story. How did you know to follow your instinct and not the plan? These
Right.
are the kind of questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
for sure.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
FanQuest is coming together.
Yeah, so
Super
FanQuest, but just before FanQuest, we'll be in Calgary, and then Regina, and then FanQuest. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, FanQuest is June 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah,
So
Calgary, Regina, FanQuest. So hopefully, dear listeners, some of you can come and find us at those events. This has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made, and we hope you will join the fight and make comments.